Hello, everyone. My name is Chioma Iwagu, MD CyberDome, Nigeria. It is always a delight to welcome you to yet another interesting webinar. Today, we shall focus on how to proactively stay ahead of cyber attacks with the best of the pack region attack simulation platform. And with us to give insight to this topic, I have with me two gentlemen from one of our strategic partners in the persons of Moshe Elias, Director of Product Marketing, and Noam Gavich, Pre-Sales Consultant, both with Simulate. Gentlemen, nice to have you with us.
Hello, everyone.
So today's webinar is going to be segmented in two streams. We're going to have a presentation, which is going to immediately be followed by a demonstration, and we shall take questions at the end of each stream. So I urge each and every one of you out there to make use of the Q&A feature on your screen. Thank you. Additionally, we will be willing to assist interested organizations at the end of this webinar with a 14-day POV license to enable them try out this solution. Thank you very much once again. So we all know that the COVID-19 is an accelerator of change, and then with it, it has come with the paradigm shift. We've also seen a high wave of digitization as well as a lot of disruption within the cyberspace, hence the need to ensure we continuously reevaluate our cybersecurity posture while also paying attention to security control capabilities with a view to ensuring we secure our critical IT infrastructure, both on cloud and on-prem, cannot be overemphasized. Nigeria in recent times has had to grapple with a couple of cyber threats, as includes insider threats, phishing attacks, ransomware, and a host of others. And we know that to prevent these threats from escalating to full-blown attacks, there is need to ensure a comprehensive and holistic cyber security solution in place. Hence, CyberDome, which is a world-class MSSP situated in Abuja, focuses exclusively on cybersecurity. We also offer full service solution to meet all your security needs. Again, we are very active both in Israel and Nigeria, thus staying very close to our clients with the view to understanding their challenges as it pertains to risks, referring to their threat landscapes, such that we can provide professional services, MSSP, consultancy services, response services, and of course, our CyberDome Academy. By the way, courses are taught at various levels, and we can equally customize your course to suit the need of your organization. Our SOC modular services, basically, it's a central function that allows the seamless integration of renowned expertise, processes, and innovative technologies with a view to providing continuous monitoring of organizations' operation network environment while strengthening their security posture through prevention, detection, and response to cybersecurity incidents. CyberDome offers the best innovative and cutting-edge technologies and solutions from the state of Israel. As you can see on the screen, we have some of these technologies, which include anti-phishing, network access control, vulnerability assessment, risk assessment, web application firewalls, and a host of many others. At CyberDome, we're very proud to say that we have been, over the years, able to transform our clients from being cyber preys to being threat hunters. At this point, I'm going to take a break while I reintroduce our strategic partners in the persons of Moshe and Noam to take over the stage and tell us how we can reevaluate and optimize our security control while protecting our environment and organization at the click of a button. Gentlemen, the ball is now in your court. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to CyberDome for hosting us today. And thank you, an even bigger thank you to the attendees who have taken the time out to attend this webinar. My name is Moshe Elias. As I was originally introduced, I'm the product marketing manager director for Simulate. In the meantime, I'm going to try and share my screen. 1 second. There you go. And with me is Noam Gavish, who is the technical consultant for Simulate. I will provide an introduction to who we are, what we do, and the benefits of deploying our solution. And Noam will actually show you the platform. Hopefully, you will see how simple it is to use and how effective it is in enabling you to avoid assuming you're secure. You'll be able now to validate that you're secure through attack simulations and measure the effectiveness of your security controls. So before I go into the product, if anyone has any problems seeing the screen or hearing me, please use the chat and we'll try and address those individually. If not, then if everything's okay, I'm just going to go forward and talk a bit about who we are. We're a relatively young company, but we're staffed by experts in the security industry with many, many years of experience in all aspects of attack simulations, hacking, of course, ethical hacking, penetration testing, security operations, and so on and so forth. The company has already got more than 200 customers worldwide, and we're spreading out globally in all territories. We still haven't got enough business in Africa. Maybe CyberDome will be able to help us grow that business and create our own presence. But in the meantime, these are the countries that we are present in, UK, Spain, India, and of course in Israel. Our solution has received quite a lot of awards. We're in a pretty young and emerging market, which means that there's a lot of innovation going on in the security industry. But really, why did we come about in the beginning? And that's the main question, I think, that should be on your mind. The fact that many organizations spend millions of dollars, aggregate numbers are mind-boggling, $100 billion in security, and yet no one can really put a number, a quantitative number, even a qualitative number. Some organizations have absolutely no idea how operationally effective their security technologies are. And I can share with you anecdotes of financial companies, large established in the city of London, where we did a proof of concept, and we found out that their WAF, their web application firewall, was in monitoring mode. Or their web gateway of another customer, the SSL inspection was turned off simply because it caused a problem of performance. So these things going unnoticed can open significant security gaps. And there's really no way to test the more complex controls without actually facing an attack. And now you don't want to face an attack, an actual attack. What you want to do is to simulate them continuously in order to evaluate that your security controls are indeed working optimally. And why is continuous security validation important? Well, your business is dynamic. I don't know how many applications you are turning on and off on a monthly basis, changes to software from the operating system to your IoT to different types of web platforms. All of these changes expand and change your attack surface. They don't even have to expand them. Just by changing them, they could be creating a security gap or a conduit into your network that didn't exist previously. So you need to continuously test for that. Secondly, the threat landscape is dynamic. Stealth techniques evolve, the tactics and techniques of hackers evolve, new malware strains emerge daily almost, new threats. And so you need to test that your security controls are as effective to these new threats as they were previously. And the third issue is that the security operations themselves has become dynamic. Whether you are just updating the security technology of your systems or you had to change a policy in order to create a connection to a business partner. This has become pretty significant because last year, 60% of breaches were performed through third parties. So you may have the best security infrastructure that you can create, and yet through someone hacking one of your suppliers, um, you can find yourself under a significant breach. So all of these together mean that you're living in a very dynamic, constantly changing environment, right? And so knowing your security posture at any given point right now is seems to be almost impossible. The second aspect is if you can't measure your security posture, how can you improve it? How can you know that by changing a security control or just improving its configuration, you've improved your security posture, or maybe it's deteriorated? For one thing, we are sure is that by setting your configuration settings and then leaving them, okay, not changing them, the best setup in the world will probably be suboptimal within weeks, okay? So you need to be able to measure that, track it, and find out what new gaps have been created in order to close them. So there's a number of other questions on this slide. I'm not going to go through them, but you can imagine that by providing a quantitative score to your security posture, a security rating to your organization and even your third parties can enable you at first to understand what your position is and then enable you to improve it. Now, you've probably tried pen testing. You may have tried external red teaming. These are very effective and very important services for you to be able to take a holistic approach, or maybe you do pen testing at the application level. So these are very important activities in order to measure your security posture, exercise your detect and response capabilities, and so on. The problem with these, and you probably know this, is that first of all, by the time you get the report, it's already outdated. Things have changed both in your IT architecture, in the threat landscape, in the policies that you've created and defined and changed. So the report itself has a problem. Secondly, the result of a pen test relies heavily on the skill of the pen tester. Now, to book a skilled pen tester can take you weeks, even months, because they are in high demand. And of course, the cost is highly significant in order to engage with these people. Thirdly, you probably do a significant corporate level pen test once a year, maybe twice a year. Of course, that frequency cannot address the dynamic nature of your business. So we like to say it's like planning your next vacation by checking last month's weather report. But seriously, it is critical today because of the dynamic business environment that we all live in to be able to validate the effectiveness of our security controls on a daily basis. And our vision is to enable security teams of all sizes. And this is key because we want to be able to make our platform accessible, beneficial, even to small security teams. Okay. It doesn't make sense to create a platform that you need to be a skilled pen tester in order to operate it. No, we put all our knowledge, all the knowledge of our security researchers, pen testers, hackers, security operations people, we put their knowledge in the platform and we make it simple for you to test. And you don't have to take my word for it. Mr. William Perez, who kindly gave us a quote, told us clearly, you guys enable me to test, reconfigure, and increase our security posture, and that we add great value to their security program. Euronext is another example. Here they talk specifically about the ease of use. And why is it easy to use? First of all, as I said, we put all our knowledge into the platform itself. We create test scenarios that can be launched with a click of a button. You don't need to have to put much thought. You can. There is a lot of customization that you can do in the platform. But in order to realize the benefits, you can use the best case templates that we provide that provide in-depth testing of security controls, and you can get immediate results. Our coverage is comprehensive. We cover more security domains than any other platform. And because we're SaaS-based, we're very, very simple to deploy. Just one agent on a dedicated standard corporate desktop machine, and you're up and running, being able to run all the assessments that we support. So going back to the coverage, okay? We cover 4 domains of the security posture. These are the domains that typically you can influence and control and improve. The first one is intelligence, which is the intelligence a hacker can gather about your organization, both technical and organizational, externally, even before he starts an attack. And what we're saying is that by, first of all, understanding your technical weaknesses, we'll provide you remediation guidance to close them. And secondly, by seeing what an adversary, an attacker can see, you can make a lot of improvements at the general IT level by using up-to-date certificates, up-to-date software platforms, patching, and so on, which already shows that your operation is very meticulous about security. And maybe the attacker would be not interested to approach your organization when down the road there's another company who is totally open to attack. The second domain is security awareness. And what we enable you to do is to launch internal phishing campaigns in order to measure the security awareness of your employees. We track every stage of the attack, who received the email, who opened the email, who clicked on the email, who entered the credentials. And of course, we provide that information for educational purposes for you to focus on the people who need that security education. The third domain are the security controls. And here we measure in depth a broad range of security controls and their operational effectiveness. We provide you remediation guidance for each control and each attack that we were successful in launching on how to remediate them. And the fourth domain is infrastructure. This pertains to the configuration of your network and network services, the strength of your passwords. Basically, what we do is we simulate an attacker who has established a foothold in your network and now is trying to propagate throughout the network and control additional endpoints, PCs, servers, and of course, ultimately, he's trying to reach your domain controller. The outcome of all these assessments provides you, first of all, validation on the level of your security, provides you quantifiable security KPIs so that you can track performance over time. Let's say you've changed your firewall vendor and you've done a really good setup. You'd like to go back to management and tell them that the money you've invested has improved the security by 7%, by 15%, by a number, instead of just giving a guess that, well, it's a new firewall, so it should be better. This provides you a clear measurement of whether that change, that investment has provided benefit. We provide remediation guidance and priorities, of course, for every security gap that we discover, every weakness, or every piece of intelligence that could prove harmful against you. Of course, performing these testings helps you to be compliant to regulations. And we create two sets of report, executive reports, which baseline your security performance and compare it with other companies in the industry and provide you high-level recommendations, while the technical reports provide a detailed attack-by-attack description, whether it was successful, and what you need to do in order to mitigate the weakness that we found. So what do I mean by automating the full kill chain of an adversary? I mean that literally. It's gathering the intelligence through the intelligence domain, creating the initial foothold, whether it's through phishing or malware or a web malware download, a drive-by download. It's creating that initial hook into the network, and then execution, which means downloading the rootkit or whatever tools the hacker uses in order to establish his control within the network and be able to go about his activity without being detected. The fourth one is the network propagation, his capability to move laterally within the network in search of the crown jewels, the action on the objective, and the data exfiltration. All of these are simulated by our platform in order for you to be able to evaluate and assess the effectiveness of your security controls. And the security controls that we support today, going from left to right, the recon vector measures, looks for the intelligence and weaknesses external to your organization, your web, vulnerabilities and web weaknesses, your perimeter, email security, web application firewall security, the employee awareness, the phishing awareness vector, the endpoint security vector, which checks the capabilities of your virus or your endpoint detection and respond software, or if it's a service, the capability to block the attacks that we're launching. Network propagation, the lateral movement, which is a really, really cool vector, which I hope Norm will be able to show. And the data exfiltration, which is basically being able to package synthetic data that is either looks like corporate confidential information or financial information, or maybe personal identifiable information that could get you in trouble with regulations, like credit card and numbers and social security numbers and so on. We'll package those into different file formats like a JPEG or text or an Office file, and try and exfiltrate them through multiple means, including USB. So we'll check DNS tunneling, cloud storage services, and so on and so forth, the capability, so that we can check the capability of your DLP to detect that and block it. In addition to these vectors, these 8 vectors, we have 2 modules, which are multi-vector modules. The immediate threats is a really, really cool and important vector module. What the immediate threats does, or basically what we do, is we will upload to the platform on a daily basis new threats that our security researchers have found in the wild. You'll be able to test the effectiveness of your security controls against these immediate threats instantly. So you don't even have to click a button. This can be fully automated. And because we use attack simulations, there's no problem in running this in your production network. It doesn't have to be overseen. You'll get an email saying, we've tested the latest immediate threat, and you have a problem, or you don't have a problem, everything is fine. And if you do have a problem, we'll tell you where it is. The second module is what we call the full kill chain APT. This is what enables you to check your security architecture end to end. And what we provide in the full kill chain APT module are templates of known APT groups that, and we simulate all the tools and capabilities that they use in their attacks for you to be able to check the end-to-end architecture of your security estate. And of course, we provide you a very rich library of attacks, all mapped to the MITRE attack framework, for you to be able to create your own kill chain from phishing up until data exfiltration if you want. So you don't even have to have an agent. You can actually go from phishing, or you can go from email or web right down to the actual action on objective and data exfiltration. So continuous security validation. Just to summarize what we do, we simulate hacker tactics and techniques. We provide both threat actor specific and customizable APT flows. We update the platform daily with new threats and also with new tactics and techniques that we uncover. It provides you in-depth security validation to discover many security gaps and weaknesses, not just the one or two that a pen tester may find and tell you about because it was successful for him to enter your network. We will do a very broad validation of each security control that I described in the previous slide in order for you to be able to understand what your security gaps are. It's safe to use in the production environment. We do not exploit vulnerabilities. We complement vulnerability scanners, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. And it's simple to use. This is key. You don't have to be a pen tester to operate and benefit from this platform. We do provide value to pen testers who want to load their attack scenarios into the platform, but this is our main focus is making this platform accessible to organizations who have small security teams or security teams that are stretched in terms of resources. As I mentioned before, we augment existing security programs, which means that we integrate with these out of the box. Vulnerability scanners are great. They're important for you to know what your vulnerabilities are. But if we can provide attack context, say that in these and these attacks, these are the vulnerabilities that we pulled from your vulnerability management system and correlated them with our simulated attacks. Now you have full, you're able to establish risk, okay? Because now there's a correlation of that vulnerability and the vulnerable machine to a specific attack. The second integration is to SIEM and EDR and other analytics systems that either do detection or alerting and logging of activity in order to identify a threat. And because, of course, we provide, enable you to orchestrate simulated attacks from integration with SIEM vendors and EDR vendors, you can validate that they are accurately detecting and alerting on these simulated attacks, and of course the immediate threats. Integration with SOAR and GRCs, because we provide remediation guidance, you can import the assessment results into your automated case management systems or security configuration system in order to plan and manage and automate some of these remediation efforts in order to streamline your security operations through the stuff that we discover. So if you're curious, this is our current integration ecosystem. We integrate with Tenable, Rapid7, Qualys, and Microsoft Defender TVM vulnerability management systems, Palo Alto, Demisto, Source Solutions, McAfee, Splunk, and IBM QRadar SIMs, Sentinel-1, Carbon Black, and Windows Defender ATP EDR integrations, and RSA GRC systems. There are many use cases in order to recover some of the time that we lost. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can read about them on our website, but you can imagine that once you're able to orchestrate an attack, a simulated attack on your organization, understand how your defenses and also how your team is reacting to those simulated attacks, you can do a lot of stuff. You can understand what your cyber posture is. You can understand the effectiveness of your security controls. You can make sure that your compliant to regulations because you're not allowing personal data to be exported or exfiltrated from your organization. You can measure stuff. So if you decide to replace a vendor and you get 4 proposals, you can orchestrate an attack on 4 different vendors, and then based on the results of those simulated attacks, you can know which one will work best for you. There's a lot of stuff that this platform enables you to do once it's deployed and operating. So in a nutshell, what we like to say is that we're changing the paradigm of security testing. We're changing it because we need today to be able to continuously assess and validate the effectiveness of our security controls. It has to be automated. It can't be manual anymore. And it has to be comprehensive, both end-to-end and in-depth. Simulate, evaluate, and remediate. So that ends my part of the presentation. And in the meantime, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Noam, so that you can set yourself up. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
So I'm
Thank
already
you.
set up. If you can just, I'll share my screen in a second.
Cool.
Can you all see my screen?
Wait, just for a second. Thank you very much, Moshe. But before we proceed, we have a couple of questions for you before Noam can take on with the demo session. So first, back to Moshe. I have an attendee who wants to know what is the data privacy and security policy of Simulate.
We are, I believe we are SOC 2 compliant. We engage customers only after signing an NDA. Thirdly, we do not upload any sensitive information, and specifically talking about the lateral movement, we do not upload that to the cloud, okay? What we do upload is a bunch of ones or zeros, which refer to the success or failure of an attack, which has absolutely no meaning to anyone. It's totally encrypted. We are, of course, very, very sensitive about this in order to be in this market. Let's be blunt. If we weren't secure, then we would be out of business.
Fantastic. So on to the next question. An attendee would like to know if your platform is built on any VAPT framework.
Our platform is our platform runs on Kubernetes in both Amazon and Azure. If that answers the question, it's totally developed from the ground up by our team. So I'm not sure what VAPT means.
Okay, vulnerability assessment and pen testing.
So our founder was a pen tester. We rely on his expertise, his assessments of capabilities. We are now totally independent on our pen testing capabilities from the platform. Noam, do you want to address this?
Sure. So besides Avichai, which is our founder, we employ many pen testers to help build our systems. Not only Avichai, there is a full team. Basically, what they're doing is utilizing their knowledge of years of experience into performing what they would have done manually over many hours and sometimes months of work to be done automatically within our system, constantly updating it, constantly adding new attack methods, constantly check if we find new malwares to incorporate them within our system, of course, in a safe manner, so we can test more and more.
Thanks, Noam. I see the next question. Do you want to read it out?
Of course, the next question is the solution for red team or blue team?
Okay, so the simple answer to that is both. Our focus is on the blue team. up to now, but we will be coming out this, and we provide full customization of attacks. I talked about test scenarios and templates. These can be fully customized by a red team in order to create their own test scenarios. We are going to extend that capability significantly in the next few months, so stay tuned. With a dedicated red team vector that will provide an API for programming. It's going to be really, really cool. And it's going to take our current capabilities, which are already significant, you know, somewhere totally around the moon. So stay tuned about that. So yeah, we've up to now, we've focused on the blue team and provided customization capabilities, but we are extending significantly in the next couple of months, a few months, let me say. I don't want to commit on any date, the red team capabilities. We want to make security testing continuous security validation, accessible even to companies that are limited in resources.
Thank you very much, Moshe. And we take the last question, which is, an attendee would like to know how exactly this type of security controls you. I mean, what exactly the type of security controls you provide?
Right. So we assess, we validate the operational effectiveness of your security controls. So multi-vendor, whatever, we will test against attack vectors. So email is an attack vector. So we will check on email, your email gateway. We'll check your network antivirus. We'll check your content arm disarm systems. We'll check your sandbox, everything that is part of your email security solution. Same for web application firewall, same for DLP. Endpoint will check both behavior-based and we'll check signature-based endpoint security for you on a myriad of types of attacks and what we call benign malware. It's malware where we've removed the part that can actually cause damage to the machine, but it does all the behavior up to actually creating the damage. So we can simulate accurately whether your antivirus or EDR is detecting or blocking or preventing that type of malware. I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely. I thank you very much, Moshe, for the insightful session. Norma, you may wish to proceed with the demo session. Thank you.
Excellent. Can everybody see my screen?
I can.
Sure.
So in the instances of saving time, I won't be going over every little detail that there is here, but this is the main platform of the system, the main dashboard. So you can see straight off the bat how simple everything is. You can tell your security posture immediately just by looking at it. When we measure security posture, we're going from the highest, which is the worst, to the lowest, which is the best. So in this dashboard, you can easily see that my email is my worst pain point, where my endpoint security is a little bit better, but still none of them are green. Now, I would like to go over how easy it is to activate the system. So if I'll go here to endpoint security, and by the way, to address the question about red teaming, we have a specific model to help them. And the rest, and of course, everything can be utilized as a red team and a blue team. Now, when you want to run an assessment, it's as simple as selecting any one of our pre-made template or any template that you made for yourself, which I'm going to show you how to do in a minute. Simply select the agent which you want to run it over and press launch. If you wish to do it a scheduled way, daily, weekly, or monthly, just select it, set the time, press launch, it will schedule it for that time. The point really being is that you can set up schedule assessment for every day or every week and just automatically get the results. Now, as you can see here, we'll be testing various different types of attacks from behavior, signature-based, rootkits, sideloading of DLLs, Trojan, worms, And of course, if I go into the red team, I can simply select any number of MyTrade techniques and simply run them. Because as you all know, in the MyTrade site, although they give you a very explicit understanding of what the technique, it doesn't actually tell you how to build it and how to execute it. What we've done here is actually give you the ability to just simply select, maybe even do a chain of attacks and build your own customized MyTrade atomic execution. Save this as a template. If there is a specific ATP group that's having your fancy, you can simply select them, and then we'll provide you with all the technique that they are known to use. If there's a specific OS that you want, if you want to search it by any type of attack techniques, you can also do that. And if you really wish, you can also just select everything. On a more advanced note, what you can actually do is build your own command, upload your own files that you have created, and use them for your customized attack. What you will get for that, for all that effort, is something looking a little like this. So straight off after we ran, it will give you understanding of how much did we ran, how much was it managed to execute completely. And if we drill down a little bit more, I'll actually be able to see in every attack, step by step, what was the techniques that I was able to utilize. If I press the more info button, I'll get a description of how we were able to utilize this technique and what is this technique. A link to MyTrade to learn a little bit more about this. What do I need to do in order to detect this technique? And most importantly, what do I need to do in order to mitigate this? Now, this can be done for every step of the attack chain. And I'll notice that some of them contain actual points of what to do step by step. But if that's in case that you can do something through the operating system. If it's something required you to do via third party, like blocking MSTHA file, then we will give you what you'll need to do, not how to do it. For we are not vendor agnostic. We are vendor agnostic. We don't recognize what sort of attacks you have. We simply tell you how we're able to bypass this and what you need to do in order to protect yourself from future attacks. Now, of course, as my friend here said, we are also integrated with your SIM solution or your EDR solution. In that case, we will also provide you with the information, have those systems detected this. So if we found records in their event logs or their alert logs, so you can know if they've found it. So let's take this, for instance. We know that although this was able to run and execute the ransom 100%, there was an event, meaning the detection did work on this specific malware. At least we got detection, if not the prevention. The other thing that's actually very, very interesting about this is really parts about reporting. So besides having executive and technical level reporting, there's also a CSV that can be generated for the technicians with all this information, including one very important column of mitigations, where you can just take all the mitigations it needs to do and do them step by step without having the technical guy actually logging into the system. All we need to do is simply configure him to get the email at the end of the assessment. He will get the mail, perform the mitigations he needs to do. And after that, we will rerun the assessment and see what's our scoring now. Our next model, which I want to go a little bit deeper, is the lateral movement. Now, in the lateral movement, now here I believe that the best way to show it is through an actual report. What we will try to do, we'll try to get from a single agent to try to move like an attacker in your organization. So the way that we will actually be accomplishing that is not by utilizing any vulnerabilities, because at the end of the day, if the vulnerability exists, it exists. But many of the times, what hackers do is once they get a foothold, they actually try to use misconfigurations and living off the lands tools, and actually try to move silently and somewhat legally, I'll air quote this, through your network. The way that they will do it is, first of all, they'll try to get users, passwords, try to see if there's any misconfiguration that they can utilize. So that's exactly what we do. So when you get this report for any one of those machines, you can simply press it, the call to button action will appear, and you'll be able to see exactly what was the steps taken to get to that machine. Everything here is clickable, meaning I know that I was able to get from my agent machine to this machine using access token manipulation. This will give me exactly what this technique is, how to mitigate this. Notice that if there is a possibility to mitigate this on a Windows level, and that's why I said that sometimes just misconfiguration in how your domain is set up. For instance, using this technique, I can really simply, just by reconfiguring the GPO, block this technique that's utilized by many, many attackers. And of course, detection, what to put in your SIM solution in order to be able to detect when someone is trying to accomplish this, even though you have blocked it. The other things that I'm going to be getting is any tokens, services, hashes, or password for every machine. This, of course, can also be exported to a CSV report. And I can get this information for every one of those machines. If it's a longer chain, I'll be able to see step by step. There is a timeline saying of the attack, exactly what I did and when, and were I able to bypass UAC. Besides that, I'm going to be given great insights about what was the best used technique, in this case, Kerberosting. All this information, again, can be exfiltrated out. Very important thing to emphasize, although Moshe has said this before, in lateral movement, no data has been uploaded to the cloud by default. You can upload it manually if you so choose, but if you don't do anything, by default, it will be saved on the agent. And I'm going to put that disclaimer here because the next part I want to show you is what are the password and hashes that we're able to gather. So first of all, although we gather password and hashes, we don't save. We only save for the first 3 letters in order for confirmation. Never mind if it's a password or a hash. But we will tell you the first letters. We'll tell you the username, and most importantly, we will tell you how we're able to get that. And again, for every password we're able to get, we'll give you a description of the technique used. Most importantly, the mitigation of how to fix this, so this password cannot be stolen again in the future, and detection. This goes for both passwords and hashes. The next thing that we will show you is which tokens we're able to gather, which web servers, which databases, and of course, what are the machines that we're able to discover on this. Not only reached, but actually discovered. Some of them are maybe discovered and not reached. So you can see that we discovered 276, but actually reached 150. And that will actually give you some sort of an understanding of which machines are more compromised than other. Now, lateral movement is one of the only models that we actually say it's important where you start, maybe started from different places in your environment. For instance, maybe the secretary's computer has a lot of impact where it can get, and maybe some other places be. So we always suggest test from a few different locations. Now, since we're running out of time, I'll clear the next 5 minutes for questions if anybody has. Do we have any questions?
Absolutely, there are questions.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
have 2 questions, and the first one, just hang on a second. The first one, the attendee would like to know if the solution can perform DDoS attacks, and if yes, won't it disrupt the organization's network?
So DDoS attacks, for those denial of service attacks, we don't try to do denial of service because all the payloads that we use are, as my friends say, somewhat castrated. We take an actual payload, we reverse engineer it, and we cut the last payload. So instead of attacking the whole machine or using or creating a DDoS or opening up a backdoor to a command and control site, we just change it. So instead of attacking the entire machine, it will attack a specific folder that we create. If it's if it's supposed to open the backdoor, we'll open the backdoor to our servers and close it, of course, at the end of the assessment. I hope that answers your question. The next question. Is there I'm actually able to see the question. So, is there an on-prem version? Look, on-prem is, we're a startup company. Everything's possible. We don't have an on-prem version, but for enough money, I'm sure we can get something, but it's not cheap, and it's not the way that we do it. And honestly, I don't think that on-prem is the way to go for a SaaS platform, since the point of this is that we constantly upgrade our system. We constantly add new attack vectors and new ways to go about it, and on-prem cannot be updated as quickly. What, next question?
Okay, the next question. How do you ensure it doesn't break any code or cause of denial of service?
So first of all, there is a safety document that I can share with all of you. It's also open in the platform that you can take. For every one of the models, we have safety concerns attached to it. But rest assured, we don't break anything. The whole point is to test you safely. I will be sending out the security measures that we take at the end of this session to all the people that participated.
Thank you, Noam. And we're going to take the last question, which is there a difference? Okay, second to the last question, actually. Is there a difference between the solution and pen testing?
Can I take that one, Noam?
Sure.
So there are four main differences. A pen test will find a way into your network. Security validation will search for all the security gaps and weaknesses for every security layer that we support. So a pen tester can find a way into your network, but you never know if there are additional conduits into your network. Secondly, as I said before, a pen test relies on the skill of the pen tester, while we put a lot of knowledge and experience into the platform to achieve a broader set of results. Thirdly, a pen test takes maybe days, weeks to schedule, definitely to get your report, analyze it, validate it, and take action upon it. When sometimes, and customers have told this to us directly, by the time they get the report, it's already outdated. Policy has changed, technology has changed, architecture has changed within the weeks it takes to do the test. And the last point is that pen testing is typically a periodic snapshot. And in today's dynamic environment, you really need continuous security validation. And now we're offering our platform to MSSPs and to pen testers to perform that yearly or twice a year pen test, but in between those pen tests to run continuous security validation in order to keep tabs on the security posture of the customer, to help him out when changes have created unforeseen security gaps. I think it can complement a pen testing organization or an MSSP very well in order to have that continuous, let's say, QA, quality assurance, in between the setups and the tests that he performs.
Thank you, Moshe, for that. And I would also take another question. Incidentally, we have streams of questions, but I think we have enough time to take that. The next is, please show us a demo on how reports will look like for executives.
So I'll take that one. It's pretty simple. simply go over to the reports, and for everyone here, there is an executive level reporting. Usually takes around 15 to 25 seconds to generate the report. I'm just going to share the report on the screen here. So that will be the executive level report, giving you the information on a high level, benchmark performances, and how we calculated the scoring.
If you didn't notice, because no one went through it very quickly, there are two graphs there. One is how your security scoring has changed over time since the last assessment that you did, and also what is the security scoring of your company compared to other companies in your industry. And this can help you. A customer told us this actually helped him get budget. So he showed his organization and he showed all his competitors and said, boy, look, we have a problem. I need to increase our security because compared to other companies in our industry, which are obviously competitors, our situation is not as good as theirs. So there's also that perspective of the report. So it provides a lot of information that enables you to measure, track, and over time optimize, hopefully, the security posture of your company. Great. Any more questions?
Definitely. The next one is one of the attendees would like to know if this is Simulate is a hardware, software, or a class-based application.
Cloud-based.
Okay, thank you for that. And to the next question, is the app a web-based or does it reside application? And what system requirement do some can use, e.g. server type?
Noam?
Well, yeah, so we have the app itself is the screen that you're currently seeing is SaaS-based. It's in the cloud. You can access it via this URL. But there is an installment component of an agent that is installed on a single machine in your environment. The requirements are very low, but you can get them. We'll send system requirements as well. They're not very high, just installation of an agent.
It's a basic desktop, isn't it? No.
Yeah, any basic desktop or server that can do it, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it can run Windows, it can run our agent.
Fantastic. So to the last question, I believe, can this solution be launched against another organization that is not in your network?
No.
Well, the answer, Noam, is correct. It's no. But we have a customer in England who is a large insurance company, and he demands for every third party that connects to him that they install an agent on their premise, and they agree to do a security assessment before he connects them into his corporation. So
yeah, but that's with their consent.
Yeah. So that's why I said you're correct. But if the third party agrees, then it's a great way to do an in-depth third-party security assessment before connecting them into your network. Because like I said before, 60% or even higher, 62%, I believe, of breaches last year were based or were done through a third party getting hacked.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. And I must say that this session has been very rewarding and insightful. And to all attendees, feel free to contact us on the numbers and email addresses showing on the screen, and we'll be delighted to take your questions and inquiry. I want to use this opportunity also to thank you for taking time out to join in on our webinar. And we hope you found this session very, very interesting, insightful, and rewarding. We look forward to hosting you once again in subsequent webinars. Thank you once again and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for those who attended, and of course to CyberDome who facilitated this webinar, hosted us. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for your time. Have a wonderful day.